Oh, then I've seen it.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Wow.
It is the time that we are beginning. Does everyone have their glass?
Yes. In fact, I have the bottle.
Ooh.
Oh, who is she?
Who is she?
Who is she? Yeah, who is that bottle?
Yeah.
She's from Mexico.
No, it's not.
Oh.
Let me go.
Mezcala ancestral.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you gotta do the hand behind.
The influencer. Yeah.
Exactly. We love an influencer hand.
Here.
Here we are, okay, for convening around season 9, episode 2 of The Real Housewives of Potomac.
Anyone know what it was called?
Double Trouble. I don't know why.
Oh,
Okay.
like a double booking.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking about double consciousness, and I was thinking about biracials, and
Oh,
it could be that as well. Let's see.
Yes.
But
you know who needs to hear that?
But let's raise a glass to, I'm gonna say, Wendy, and to her finally standing up against Gizelle.
The bully. Okay.
The bully. So you say the bully. I'm gonna say Jizzy.
Cheers.
You are now watching Mind You Media.
Mind You!
We can't use that. We don't have the rights. You are now streaming Mind You Media.
See how small my glass is?
Yeah, is that enough? I guess you have the bottle next to you.
Yeah, that was a straight pour. That's more than enough, I would say.
Hey, you started drinking. Are you okay talking? Someone who started talking without drinking, so I was like, it's gonna ruin the whole vibe if we don't start drinking.
Oh, let me just
come on.
Okay.
All right. Oh, sorry.
All right. Let's.
Are we running the clocks?
Huh?
Are we running the clocks?
We are running the clocks. The clocks are, and we're right on time. It's time for the 1-minute recap. I know that what I did last week, despite one of the haters, the hater, I did a pretty good job. So I would like to test Kristen's abilities. We'll see how she does.
It's the rotation. It's Kristen's turn. don't act like you done graduated and are the arbiter of.
All right, let's see what she can do. It is her time in the sun. I'm going to count you off. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go.
Okay, Double Trouble opens with Mia bawling in the bathroom after Gizelle having told her that she's an ain't shit mom. That ends the Inquisition party, more or less. Gizelle and Wendy go to the lunch that we saw last episode. Gizelle invited Wendy to. It's a little tense, but I think Wendy holds her own. Gizelle is unreasonable and is unwilling to grow. Then we go see Stacey at her home that is partially where she lives, where she spends part of her time with her husband that she's separated from. We meet her daughter, who is a proud German, apparently. They're making out a fuss. Then Karen and Kiarna get together. We haven't seen Kiarna yet, so she makes her debut this season. And we learned that Jassi didn't invite Kiarna to Karen's Inquisition birthday. But Kiarna is not lit to go to another GNA event after what happened to her last season. Ashley and Stacey go on a walk.
And you're done. You're done. Okay, sorry. You go on.
Okay. Sorry. Now she wants to dial it back.
That was rude. That was rude.
Sorry.
Okay.
I've been waiting all day
without regard for the time, but it was otherwise good. But you weren't moving.
The highlight.
Well, you know what I noticed actually for both of you, and maybe, take this with, is that it actually takes you the longest to just get the first word out. Like there were 2 seconds in when you're like, okay.
I think sometimes I'm reliving the scene in order to represent the most essential characteristic about it, and that will sometimes take the time
You gotta
away.
get in
Or
the
it's
character.
performance anxiety.
No, I'm drinking. I'm drunk. I'm good.
No, it's like, a general feature of performance anxiety. The first thing is the start. I mean, the hardest part is the start.
And then you're rolling. Yeah, it's true. It got better every scene. It got more and more concise. I will give you that.
Well, let me finish then. Let me finish. Okay. So Ashley and Stacey go on a walk where they discuss that Stacey is still living with her husband. We learn that Ashley identifies as a Black woman, but her boys, it's more complicated. They're white, basically, and that both she and Stacey share an investment in whiteness that keeps them.
That's not what she said.
That keeps them from bringing their kids around other Black people, is what I heard.
But that is what we learned. But that's how
it was not stated explicitly. You got to read between the lines sometimes.
It was in the notes. I got it in the notes. Yes, both of them were lamenting their white kids not having exposure enough to Black people, even though they're the reasons why their white kids don't have exposure enough to Black people.
It's always a surprise, a mystery.
Yeah.
Then we see Gizelle and Karen meet up briefly at Gizelle's teardown. Never mind. Karen tells Gizelle, yeah, I actually have an event that day that your GNA event is with Ashley, but I'm gonna definitely be there. That, opens up the drama of the episode, which is that there is a double booking on this Friday in question where Karen is getting an award and Gizelle is doing her GNA brain tumor benefit with Ashley. And there's a whole bunch of consternation that ensues because the women have to go between both events. Karen apparently contracts some transportation to take the women between her event to Gizelle's event. Gizelle's like,
I think it was Jassi.
Oh, Jassi did that?
Yeah, they said it Jassi's driver.
Yeah, once the van was there, all of a sudden it was Jassi's. But Karen did originally frame it as in, I've secured this car,
Oh, she did? Oh, okay.
Yeah, in the text message. Gizelle, she's always, I think, framing her grievances in terms of her family relations. So, of course, as she expresses anger about the women not prioritizing her event, she's like, this event is for my father, okay? And they are disrespecting it by not coming. And, it gets tense where basically Gizelle refuses entry to the women by the time they arrive. Ashley, who told them to arrive by 8:00, when they arrive at 8:03, does nothing to intervene on Gizelle kicking them out, but does follow them to the truck to ask for a donation. At which point Jassi closes the door on her, but that's next episode. Sorry.
Okay. Was all of that in the preview?
It was in the preview, yes.
Okay,
yes.
for next time. Okay, because all right, I was like, I totally missed that. All right, well, thank you. That was very comprehensive.
Great job, Kristen.
I see why it took longer than a minute. I get it.
Recognizing.
Let's get into it. Let's start with that convo, harkening back to our toast between Wendy and Gizelle. Okay.
Yeah. Well, can I note something that transitions between the leftover of the Hatitude party and that? It's like the bucket hat point. Gizelle, it's like, okay, I was like, wait a minute. So Gizelle distributes to Karen, Ashley, move finger, and Mia felt hats, right? Like they are more or less all the same hat. They're felt hats. Okay. Then Wendy gets, in a very sharp pivot, a leather bucket hat, which looks amazing on her.
Yes.
And then the newbies get, different varieties of what she calls the derby hat, right?
Derby hat, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a straw hat with a stiff brim. But the issue is why have you given fine. Okay, do the Ashley and Karen thing. If those now Mia's also getting a felt hat, and now Wendy's getting a radically different material. Like it's just, and Karen clocked it. Thank God, Karen clocks it later on when she's at her house. But it's like, it's just. It doesn't seem like a slight because the hat looks phenomenal on Wendy, and it's just like, oh, you got her the most on-trend hat, actually.
Yes.
But it is a slight. It's like, and it is a way of marking her, like, which is why Wendy ends up saying, like, yeah, what I don't like is when you do this thing where you try to alienate people because you're mad at them. Case and fucking point. Like, why are you giving her the most radically different? Like, it just didn't make sense. Like, Ashley's Western hat didn't need to be like. There's a more iconic Western hat instead of that felt version. You see what I mean? Like, you're giving people things that are meant to mark their relative this or that, that's supposed to reflect something about their character or their interests. Like, Ashley's hat shouldn't have looked like you and Karen's hat.
And can I just say, like, okay, so to justify giving Wendy that fly ass bucket hat, you say, oh, our relationship is in the bucket, so you get a bucket hat. Then why don't you get one, Gizelle? Because it's like, why is Wendy the representative? Like.
And I feel like, okay, like, I'm just gonna read another layer of the iconicity. It's a black leather hat. Everyone.
Tell us, Professor. Tell us.
First of all, it's giving the symbolism of the radical Black 60s. So like,
not Run DMC.
Wendy's, yeah, but that's a holdover, right? Like, fine. Then the emergence of hip hop in the 80s, it's a holdover from that. And it's like Wendy's politics don't necessarily converge with that. I wish they did, but it's like, so what are you doing? Are you just marking her as the blackest one by like making a parody, by bastardizing Black radical politics? Like, that's crazy.
And then Wendy felt she knew the assignment and starts rapping, and then Giselle's like, oh, bad.
That's right.
No, Wendy, no.
Yeah. Like, no, don't reframe or embrace or indulge in what this hat signifies. I meant it to mark you. And then, of course, when she sits down across from Wendy at the lunch, first thing she says, like, no isms.
Now that. Like, Gizelle, don't at least make your opening gesture, like, say it with your chest, right? That's like, what do you mean, no isms?
Yeah, just say she really did not say it with her chest. Like, it was a key opportunity to cut her off at the knees. She would have fallen hard.
What do you mean, ma'am? Which ism? What are you talking about? Like, and, anyway, yeah.
It's funny how it's just like, you know what I mean. It's like at this point, it's like, Gizelle, shut the fuck up. Like, you're incorrigible. She's incorrigible.
She is. Can you please tell us what you thought Gizelle has started to look like? Our audience might appreciate and enjoy.
Well, if you catch the intro of this video on YouTube, you might hear us go, "You are now watching Mind You Media." Mind you. That's what's it called? A shout out, a throwback to Mad TV. Yes, that late 90s, early 2000s gem of my childhood. Yes. And there was one phenomenal actress, named Nicole Sullivan, who played such roles as Britney Spears when they wanted to mock her. She played a character. No, she didn't play Dot. Nicole did a lot of things, foremost of which was Britney Spears. Nicole, no, that's Alex Borstein who did Miss Swan. Okay, anyway, Nicole Sullivan is also the like racist white woman neighbor, Janine, on Blackish, who lives across the street from Anthony Anderson and his family. Giselle's beginning to look just like her.
Well, we have to insert a picture.
We can put a picture. At least on the TikTok. We can put a picture. No, because by the time Nicole is the neighbor across the street on Blackish, she's like 40 pounds heavier than she was on Mad TV. And Giselle's like intro photo, the cast pick thing, they just cut to it, just Gizelle. And I said, Nicole, is that you?
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with aging, Gizelle has aged quite a bit.
I mean, the way she was talking, she was never going to age. So I'm okay to mock her at this juncture, since she was acting like she was ageless. which is not
and I
a way
think
of
she's
saying aging is
still
bad.
acting like that. That's why that's what I was gonna get into. Is she's still acting like I'm the prettiest in the group. I'm the da 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 da. I da da da, and it's like you look like an older woman, which is totally fine.
She hasn't said it lately yet, though. We haven't heard. She ain't saying it yet this season because she knows better.
You might say that it's the incorrigibility that's aging her. It's like, Gizelle, you're stiff, inflexible, like unmoving, walledness. That is not. You're not being pliant. You're not like, you're not being affectable. You're not going with the flow. And I think that rigidity is really wearing and showing up on the face and the neck.
And the neck. And the neck. Before, when Candace used to say neck to Gizelle, I thought it was warranted, whatever, but I thought that there were other qualities about Giselle's personality that should have been gone for first. Now she does lead with the neck. She does lead with the neck.
And you know what else I notice about her? This reminds me of like the older women that I remember who were mostly mean from like my grandma's church. Like her mouth now has like a downward set when she's not. Yeah. So when Wendy approached and Gizelle tries to put her on ice to set the terms in Giselle's favor, she's like, hold on 1 minute. And she's just like there's a downward path, like it's now just
misery will do that.
Yes.
And why do you think? Because now I'm ever fearful that my neck is going to. Because I'm like, is it an 8 thing? Like, is the neck? If she had tension in her neck, like if she holds the tension, the rigidity in her neck, presumably it wouldn't look like that, right? Like, wouldn't that keep the skin taut?
I'm not going to speak on this because now I'm also living in fear.
Yeah, as you should.
I am vigilant of my neck every day when I watch it. Oh, I see some lines.
I do notice, like, since my 30s, there are lines, but they're just, I say to myself, oh, they're just, very faint, which they are, but
I say to myself,
it looks like a young neck from here.
No, thank you.
My lines are very defined, and I'm just like, as long as you don't start to accumulate into a sag, but I'm afraid. I'm like, I don't know. So she was just like miserable, downcast face, and her wrinkles, which wrinkles don't have to make you look any kind of way. We've seen Karen with wrinkles at different points with different faces or whatever. Like wrinkles aren't a bad thing if you're not miserable, but like just all of that stuff taken together, her misery, her downcast face, her wrinkled neck, her meanness, her general inability to be like intervened on. She's not looking good. It's not looking good on her.
It hardens the frown on like it,
Yes, 100%. And Karen has had plenty of facelifts, et cetera, but even if she hadn't, like if you exude happiness, whatever, openness in the world, like that's the energy you're bringing. But to Ellen's point, this is adding to just
it's a rough season for her. I mean, I imagine it's going to be a rough season for her, and she should consider leaving and finding happiness elsewhere.
I mean, and we'll get into later, her father did die. I'm sure that that ages you. All right.
Okay. But can we just speak to how Wendy fared in this conversation? Because I did see someone on Twitter saying, oh, that Wendy let her off the hook or let her off easy given like the allegations Gizelle was facing last season. And I think that I see that point, but I think Wendy did a great job. I think Wendy read the room. She said, no, you're incorrigible. You will not grow. You will not change. Because she tried. She said, okay, I received that. And I think, and the reason why she didn't, who knows, they might have cut it. But the reason why she didn't tarry with Giselle's, like, you can be so demeaning. It's like, if that isn't, are you kidding? You dare say that about Wendy? You're just mad you don't have the intelligence to back it up. That's all. But you're the exact same way.
Yep.
He's the exact same way. It's absurd to say that. And okay, anyway, it's absurd to say that.
I was just gonna say Gizelle knows on some level it's absurd because when Wendy says in response, like, but how are you gonna police me or whatever? And she's like, I'm not policing, I'm just saying I don't like it. Well, I don't like it, girl. Like, what is this? What are we doing here then? Like, of course, I don't like what you do either. Like, this is why we don't talk.
And Wendy is kind of like, okay, but let's address the source then, because maybe I won't have cause to speak to you that way if you don't initiate a conflict with me on the basis of absolutely nothing, which is what you've been doing these past few seasons. And she's like, well, I received that. And I'll say, which is to say, I'm not paying too much, attention to what you've said, but performing congeniality still. And she's like, and what about when you alienate people, when you're upset with them? And Gizelle's like, no. And then I think Wendy went, okay, that very basic and politely phrased thing that I offered you to see if you could take accountability, you did not. I know exactly what's going to happen. And so she proceeded to, relate to her accordingly, which is like, okay, coworker, I'm gonna take my opportunities to roast you. Kristen, you were saying like when Wendy walks up and Gizelle's like, hold, and goes on her phone, and then of course Wendy counters by being like, did you fart, bitch?
That's what any conversation where you enter the room and there's one other person and you say, what smells like a fart? I'm sorry, but you are coming at that. Like, that is just.
It was so Gizelle farted, and that's why she said, hold. I believe she said.
It was so well played because my ass would have been caught up. Like, bitch, you think I'm here to just wait on, and of course, that's the exact trap to make her look unreasonable. Like, oh my God.
And the way she answered defensively, like, I don't smell it. Because you dealt it. Because you dealt it.
You old nasty viewer. That's exactly what happens when you get old and incorrigible with the nasty wrinkled neck.
Oh my gosh, that is so fun. It's just so funny.
Gizelle, you nasty ass farter.
And then Wendy like literally takes more. She said, "That's not how you eat oysters. Why are you eating it like
that? That there were surprisingly between that and something we'll get to later, I felt like there were some real genuine moments this episode, which is, for such a scripted show, I don't come to expect this. I
just want to say to throw a little bit of bail to the people who said it was a bad showing. I think I was primed to read that interaction as like not going to go well because I just think I was thinking of Wendy's threeness and wanting to be like approved of and like, wanting to placate the power source in Gizelle. And I was like, I'm afraid she's going to let that happen and let her off too easy. And so I think that made me think that I was going to see that. And those little moments of her like, like even just powdering her nose when Gizelle tried to put her on ice was like, okay, that wasn't a like fretful, like, let me wait and see. Are you ready for me, boss? Are you ready for me? Like, she just like,
right.
Yes.
Right.
It takes a lot to stand up to the police. Okay. Yes. When she said you cannot police people's reactions to you. I mean, she like Gizelle is the overseer of the cast. Just that phrase alone for anyone, let alone a 3, is like, no, I'm naming it on camera. I came ready. I, again, I am a 3, so I'm going to keep it business casual, but I see you,
Yeah. And then someone said in our comments, like when we previewed this scene, why is Wendy dressed like a Vegas showgirl? And now I'm thinking, well, this is why. This is why she's dressed like a Vegas showgirl, because she said, you're a clown. And I'm just, it's not like I'm here to perform as in be fake. I'm here for the show. Like, I don't expect too much more of you. And I'm ready to spar. Like, let's go. I'm ready to spar. Yeah. I'm ready to keep it cute and congenial and roast you on the side if that's what you. I think that's precisely how it needs to be played. Yeah. Like, I don't like to see her breasts hardened like that, but with the exception I do love an interesting sleeve moment. So
with the exception of the breast on display, I feel like it highlight how matronly Gizelle looked too.
I know. Oh my God! I said, "Is that mommy's blouse?" Like, what is going on?
Did you get that from Ann Taylor?
We will move on from this scene, but I do want to say that now I lost my train of thought. But I did want to say something about Wendy's outfit.
It is remarkable.
I usually have no outfit commentary. Oh, for a 3 especially, their outfit is their armor. Yeah. And, a lot of times outfits do miss for 3s. They do because it looks like a costume. So I get the thing of like, why is this person wearing that? It's venue, da da da. But when she got dressed, she did say, I am getting ready for this convo.
Yes. And you know what it kind of looks like? The football
yes.
Yeah.
The shoulder.
Maybe that's what she was thinking.
You about to get checked.
I love a good check. All right. So let's move on. This is what I really want to talk about. I don't care about any other convo, really. But I want to talk about Stacey. First episode, I was thinking the women they're bringing on, I like Kiarna, but Stacey's seeming boring to me. This episode, I was like, okay, what am I really going to glom on to? Okay, I've glommed. Not in a positive way, but I've glommed. All right. First,
what did you glom to? What'd you glom to? Tell us.
We first get her speaking Spanish to the house, to the babysitter of the daughter. The daughter was much older than I thought, first of all. The old pictures they were showing, I thought it was going to be like a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
But
because that's the last time she was with her husband.
There you go. Web of lies. Another 3. I think this woman is also
obviously. Yeah, right. Yeah.
She is I actually really liked the daughter. She was like trying to get the daughter to speak Spanish. She was trying to be like, oh, look, she's trilingual. She tried to wrap up the scene by hugging the daughter and saying, I'm so proud of how amazing you are. And what, yes.
She said, stop trying to value me on the basis of what I do, mother. She knows the Enneagram, a student of the Enneagram already. She's what you've been up to, Mom.
I'm in the kitchen. I'm trying to eat, okay? And look at you all up in my face. Leave
it was
me.
It was a repudiation of the 3 mother in front of the camera. It's like,
yes.
Get out of here.
I was literally overjoyed by that because that's best case scenario that a child resists that, because the alternative is that they internalize it and learn to value themselves only on the basis of what they do. Like if she at this tender age is already resisting mother's, encroachments, then she stands a chance. Good for her.
No, totally. She's like, you're never here. Leave me and Maria alone.
What? And now the classic reframe disorientation strategy by the 3. She said, this is my home. You don't live there, Stacey. That's why you don't know who mows the lawn, like trying to reframe it as some sort of elitist status thing. You don't live in that house. And she said, I time it so that when my husband's out of town, I'm here. And so then when do you see your daughter?
Exactly. I was like, who does the daughter live with then? Because it doesn't, you call it a DC pad.
The daughter looks estranged. That's why she's like, it's like, I don't know you. And that's why she's taking pride in the German such that I have one parent. So you left me with him.
That's so true. Why is this Black woman in my house? That's what she's thinking.
No, she's not. I hope not.
I hope not. Maybe Stacey thinks that because the girl looks like she will live as a white woman, like she wears her, very tenuously.
Yeah. And it's kind of like now we're pivoting to the conversation with Ashley, because it's like, oh yeah, I want her to
we haven't had a good old,
I know, screen.
Yes. Oh, it's bad. She's gonna come on in another box.
Yeah.
That would be so demoralizing if that happened to me, I feel like. All right. So then Ashley.
Oh, okay. Here's what I was gonna say. I'm actually very sick of this. I don't know. It's like it happens to mixed chicks. It happens to the Black parents of mixed chicks. They'll be like, yeah. And I'm not even sure my exposure level to it, but it's in the discourse and I'm sick of it. Yeah, my kids, they just don't, or from the position of the kid, I didn't grow up because you are deliberately but unconsciously. And if that sounds like a inconsistency or contradiction, it's not. Okay, you may not be admitting it openly in your head or out loud, but you are motivated to produce your child as white effectively, right? Like to keep them away from Black people. There are Black people who, two sets of Black parents who raise their Black kids and go, don't play with those Black kids outside. Same idea. There are relationships where one parent is Black, one is white, and they produce a mixed chick and they go, you are special because you're mixed. Like, so all of this, and she's proud of her German, but I want her to be that way with her Black. Well, you're not proud of your Blackness. Otherwise, it would have came through from jump while the child was being born. And if that was even some people are conscientious about this sort of thing, especially if they are producing a child with a white man. Like here in the form of your sitter is a key opportunity. You didn't have to get a white Colombian or Venezuelan, because they're making arepas, right? So either Colombian or Venezuelan. You didn't have to get a whitish Colombian or Venezuelan babysitter. Those countries are filled with Black people. If it was about them learning Spanish as an additional, you could have got the Spanish speaking African diaspora abounds, girl. You made a choice.
And
now
think about space. And think about remember we had a commenter on our TikTok say something like, I can't stand Candace because she always wants to act so pro-Black. It's like, oh, well, look at Candace as a counterpoint to the Stacey's and the Ashley Darbys of the world. A woman who indeed loves and is married to a white man and is unmistakable in her comfort with, her allegiance to, her connection to her Black ass world that her white man she brings along as a part of. Shit, like he from PG County or whatever seems to have been inculcated in the Black world himself.
Looks like R&B, yeah.
You remember Chris brokered her introduction to Chucky Thomas or whatever, the go-go man
in other words, she did not decide to forge a life with a white man who would be a liability in the drive to raise Black children, right? Like, and she still has hangups about the fact that, like, what if those kids come out ambiguous?
They won't.
Now the time to air my theory about how it's actually like, even though I in my own scholarship I put pressure on the concept of will, but it's literally, by which I mean a driving life force. Like if you hope hard enough, your kids will look white. If both parents wish hard enough, they're gonna produce a white. It's not false. Track it.
Track it anecdotally. Track the mixed chicks that you know.
Well, no, anecdotally, I'm thinking about my own family. That's why.
That's evidence.
That's how it works. Like if you look at the parents and you go, now that's weird because I expect the Blackness to come through. When the one Black parent is that unambiguously, it's about a strength of a desire for it not to be the case.
Exactly. Why is that Black parent who is deeply brown and not very light skinned, why does their child still look like a white person?
And you know what I just thought of? Stacey's little. Okay, by the way, I'm still leaving out hope that Stacey will entertain me, but I've already peeped her. As Catherine points out, she's a 3, like, with mixed chick sensibilities. And she's like, I grew up, I went across the street to get my hair braided. If you don't get the fuck out of here with that cheap ass indexing of your relationship to Blackness, I went across. She's from Detroit.
That is so true.
And guess what, Stacey? Detroit is not that far from DC by way of a plane. Shit, I know people who drive. So it's like, if Detroit was
called Chocolate City. There's Black people in DC. She's not in Germany.
But it's like you're trying to narrate this like my family's so far away. It's like, girl, you can go to them and bring them to you if they were important to you and features of your life. But in fact, I believe you escaped and absconded into that German ass man and hope to like cultivate an escapist persona with him.
And
I pointed to myself because as someone who went between Detroit and DC for much of my life, that it's not hard at all. It's really not hard at all.
She just got done living in Philly, the other Black city. Like, hello. But okay, here's the difference I want to say between Ashley and Stacey potentially, because Stacey's new lover is like a corny looking Black
very
man.
corny. Well, not to say gay people are corny, but I also wonder I wonder what's going on there.
You're trying to say, okay, what I think what you're noting is that sometimes one will find a Black man who talks and then and also moves in a way that goes, but do you even like women? And
yes.
Didn't you say your friend says the pipeline?
Yes, the dates white people to being queer pipeline or something like that.
No, there is. Yeah.
It's like, is he like, my friend will be like, are they queer or do they just date white people? Like, what is
there you go. There's a thing there. we should parse exactly that dynamic. But I think the reason why I want to hold out a little bit of hope, okay, Stacey on the one hand, Ashley on the other. Ashley, you are a mixed chick, okay? And now Ashley, as far as I'm concerned, is a Black woman with more or less Black sensibilities, but that
for our newer viewers, can you just quickly gloss what you mean by mixed chick? Yeah.
Mixed chick is the phrase used to describe the person. They may have one Black parent or they may have two Black parents whose investments in being Black other than Black come through loud and clear in their manner of speech, their mode of comportment, and certainly in their behavior, their conduct towards other Black people and white people. Ashley is the paradigm case of a mixed chick. We saw, check out our TikTok for a clip of Ashley, what is that, the season 3 reunion where Michael is like, Ray and Karen, if you're a smart man, I presume you may be smart. He's a real estate developer, she says. Every nasty and despicable racist, sexist gesture from Michael Darby has been endorsed, defended, tooth and nail, supported by Ashley Darby because she believes he is her great white hope.
Yes.
Even in the case of her mother, who I think I believe Ashley loves her mom, but her mom is an unmistakable Black woman who, if Ashley's deep investments in whiteness are true, and they are, like, then that means they have to come out against her mother too, which is check out the TikTok.
That's the source of her Blackness.
Exactly. Check out the TikTok for the nasty argument that they had where Sheila was like, Ashley, you go ahead and report back to Michael that this is ugly and forget all his money. I'm your family. And Ashley's like, well, mother, you do have to learn to stand on your 2 feet. And Michael really is doing the best he can for you, but you have to cut off
and now look at that relationship. And now look at that. Well, anyway. Okay, so Ashley chose to... Anybody remember when Ashley did a sharp pivot after a certain point in the course of her RHOP career, and all her confessional looks were like kind of 90s Black girl thing, and people were like, yeah, Ashley, it was a performance, everyone.
Suddenly she had braids.
It was a matter of convenience. Just like this season, does anybody peep? She's performing Gizelle. She said, girl, if you're not having sex, like, does anybody notice her performance is going extra hard to sound like Gizelle? And then she want to talk about Stacey. Stacey's one of those women who's like one of those newscasters who actually doesn't turn it off. Ashley, you are a key person who will, when you want to perform superiority and grandiosity in relation to other Black people, will over-enunciate each syllable with the most condescending white girl voice. So shut the fuck up, okay? At least Stacey's keeping it consistent. You put yours on to be an asshole, and then you do a Black accent when you want to mock Black people.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, the difference I want to just mark is that Stacey may be trending in a healthier direction because, signs of which include this corny Black man, her needing to strike up this conversation with Ashley about, are we similarly positioned? How are you going to help your kids steer? She's now worried about it. Yeah. Ashley, however, we know she's without integrity. It's a matter of what will pay me more. No, it's really about love. Like, what will earn me the love the affection I'm chasing, the approval I'm chasing for in this given moment for this given season. You know what I mean? Like it's really not consistent with Ashley, and her dominant reflex is to shit on other Black people. So she's always that's always gonna be in the mix.
I mean, you should always track Ashley's anti-Black investment, her anti-Black will to shit on another Black person, because that's actually the most consistent feature of her personality. As we rewatch some of these seasons, it's alarming how inconsistent Ashley's like principles and behaviors and values are, because it's like, oh girl, that was just the thing that you were shitting on somebody else for that you're now up to, or vice versa. You're doing the thing that now you are shitting on somebody else for doing. And it's like, no, the whole point is just that Ashley, you're looking for where Blackness is and looking to punch down. And like Stacey is separated from her husband. Stacey has secured another place to live so that she's not up underneath this husband that she's separated from. Stacey is a Black man. Stacey is mentioned raising these questions about where will her child, what kind of person is the child going to be? Like,
and maybe she chose Spanish as the third language for the daughter because she said at least Blackness will be more reflected there in that language. Because if she's going to choose another language besides the ones from the continent, which I'm sure they're not teaching at Stacey's school, Spanish would be the next.
That's
it's really actually Portuguese because Brazil's, but Spanish is right up there. Okay, it's like
what does the kid know? German, English. It really would be French, I feel like, but it's also what
was the third
Spanish
language?
More. I mean, there are more Black people that speak Spanish than there are that speak French.
It's Spanish, English, and German is the three. Those are the
actually
three.
We need to do the math on that because
I wonder. The larger proportion of the Francophone world is Black, but I don't know if that's.
Are you sure because of Africa? We need to do that. We need to do
because of Africa. I do think that.
But aren't there more Black people? Isn't it like more Black people in Colombia than in the U.S.?
That's the thing. I think numbers wise.
Yeah. I think Colombia has the largest amount of Black people outside of the continent. Is the running?
I thought it was Brazil.
It was Colombia when I had heard it
recently. Okay, I mean Colombia may have outpaced.
Let me just say this. You brought up good points about the new Black boyfriend. I'm skeptical of that whole thing. Maybe, we were talking about the pipeline from, is that person queer or dating a white person? I was thinking about the boyfriend in that context, but maybe Stacey should be dating a woman. Okay. And I think that I'm not necessarily convinced she's on a better trajectory than Ashley. I feel like the bar is
so low with Ashley.
The bar is so low. So it's like, okay, yes, but I worry that her bringing this up with Ashley out of all people is like, oh, look, we're in this mixed white world. You're the only person that can relate to me. Like that worries me.
Let's call her ambivalent, but who else would she turn to? Nobody else is on the cast is partnered with someone white and has a child with that someone white. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, and it may have just been like, okay, I have to film a scene with Ashley. What I'm gonna talk about with her? It may have been a matter of that, but yeah, she at least stands a chance. If she is ambivalent, she at least stands a chance of being able to like her daughter is not so irredeemably white that she could not be course corrected, as opposed to Ashley has white children. And she better never call those boys Black. She better never let them identify with Blackness. They look like Michael fucking Darby,
especially that evil
and John C. Riley. Yes.
Yes. That. I mean, let me not call it John.
And yes, no, her children are sadists. Why? You think they don't teach white children to be evil from a very early age?
No, I can tell. You can tell that older one is the type of kid that's like punching,
and hurting her. You mean on Instagram they were like kicking her out of spaces?
Oh yeah. Wait, I thought I just like envisioned like that's the type. No, I've literally seen
they
it.
They aren't good. Their father is Michael Darby. Like
their father is Michael Darby, the key violator and sadist of the Housewives franchise. At least.
Here's the thing. The last thing I'll say about Stacey's boyfriend is like we haven't met him yet, but if he is a like hyper religious cornball, like it also is giving not a domineering man. And what I know of the Germans is like
That's what I said. It's like
what I know.
That's the worst. That's one among the worst whites you can get.
I know. Yeah, like it doesn't get whiter than that.
So not only is she going back black, but she's like getting maybe a like soft cornball who good for her. Like go ahead and have like a happy-ish or at least like a relationship where you can weigh in on matters in the relationship.
She said, "I'm done with this master slave play."
Exactly.
We'll see. I mean, I don't know. I'm excited to see where this goes.
We're not going to overstate it. She's definitely ambivalent. Let's give her the grace of acknowledging the ambivalence, at least. You know what I mean?
Yes. No, that's very true. Yeah.
So okay. Just moving on, we saw also the little pairing we saw was Karen and Kiana. We haven't seen Kiana yet.
Yeah. I know.
Not much to say, but Kiana was looking cute.
Yes, as always, we love Kay. She and Karen have gotten.
That's not our history with her.
I do like Kiana. You know, I'm a sucker for it too. I've had moments with her where I'm like, you know, but still, overall, even when I disliked whatever she was up to, I still liked her. You know,
I think I agree, and I think she maybe proved us wrong. Even like, remember we were like, she'll run to Gizelle if given the opportunity. She's clinging to Karen, and that is definitely the better choice. And it seems like she's like, I'm not going to their event. She's not even so thirsty that for a feature she would show up to their event, and that's applause worthy.
And maybe it's the case that we clocked a real thing, but it took experiencing an ugly physical violence that was a setup but by Ashley and for her to be like, you know what, it's not even that serious.
Yes. And to reflect on Gizelle's ongoing attachment to Ashley, the most sinister character on here. She said no. It might also be the 2-2 rivalry. Okay, one thing I was going to say about Ashley from our previous convo is that Ashley is so inconsistent, moves with such little integrity that it took us forever to even recognize that she was a 2. Meanwhile, she's sitting across from her therapist saying, "I'll do anything for love," and we were like, now what could she be?
Yes, no, we went through a number of numbers.
What was she for the longest? We thought she was a 7.
We thought she was a 7. She thought she was a 4. We thought all sorts of things, but I will
say 3 for a minute because she reminded me of another.
Also.
Oh yeah. No, we thought 2's all, but then suddenly she reminded us of a 2 that we knew very well, and it was like undeniable, and everything changed when she was looking for her white daddy, and it was so pitiful. Ivan, I forgot.
Ivan's looking for the white dad he'll never find.
Yes. Okay, there's also the last thing I would like to say about Kiana, and in defense of that moment where she seemed she could sway towards Gizelle, is that, you know, Kiana is a 2. And she was physically ill, and she wasn't feeling like the love from people. Gizelle took advantage of that. I can see why Kiana was like, this person loves me, cares for me, and responded in the moment like that. So, you know, I'll give that to her. I get it. I get it. All right. Let's move on now to.
Can I just say, to respond to that, what Karen trumped it by riding in the ambulance with her.
No, exactly. That's where they've gotten closer since that. Kiana's like, oh,
this is a real gesture of caring for me when I'm not well. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. That was great. Yes.
And Karen will always do that. That's good.
She will.
She loves to come and check on somebody who's in.
Okay, and maybe Kiana is helping Karen not lose touch, because you know how Karen's like investments in propriety and elite status can make her a little like, it's like she gets to get back to gully Karen with Kiana. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's the Karen we all prefer.
I feel like Karen got back to gully Karen with this whole double event. The double event Karen of season 1 would have thought was disgusting.
Even last episode, she said, "Who gonna ride with a bitch?"
And repeated it again this episode.
That's true. I did appreciate the repeat. So yeah, set us up for the GNA event. Let me just say fiasco. Kristen has it listed as a GNA fiasco.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you.
They titled it GNA Fusion to represent their new entree into matters of health and brain tumors.
But it's not a fusion. Gizelle said explicitly, we're basically turning away from the fashion aspect. And it's like, yeah, like as we suspected. Remember when we had that prediction? Some producer got a friend of to be like, this can be y'all's thing this season, which is like, everybody knew it was nonsense from the beginning. But to that point, no, to the point of the event, I was going to ask y'all, what do you think about the way Karen's moving? Because a lot of the discourse about the episode on Twitter while it was airing was like, nah. Actually, I didn't see too many people being negatively judging Karen, but of course that's going to be the show's going to run with that. Gizelle's going to run with that. Ashley's going to run with that.
Okay, let me say, in real life, I think that what Karen did, if this is in a vacuum, I think that was wrong. I think Karen was wrong. My reaction watching was, first and foremost, Karen of the first 3-4 seasons would not have stood for this. She would have been the main one thing that was disgusting. My second reaction was, oh, okay. Karen, and I have 3 reactions, so don't jump the gun on responding. But my second reaction was, oh, Karen is really, really upset about how Gizelle tried to play her at her birthday party. And this is payback, and I think that's justifiable. Yeah. I think that was, she really tried to play her at a birthday party. Like, that was crazy.
And the Kiana thing was a cherry on top when she learned that.
Yes, exactly. So that was my second reaction. Like, oh, she is actually upset. And then my third reaction was, maybe she's not.
I'm going to jump the gun.
No, let me just finish. Let me just say my last one. This one's baby. My last one is that my third reaction was, actually, maybe she just knows that they're getting paid to do this job, and they might not get paid next year to do this job unless she creates some conflict. So that was, she's either very upset, more upset than she's ever been, or she doesn't give a fuck and she's creating conflict for the show.
Okay.
That was
what do you think? I'm still unsure, so I want to hear what you think.
Well, in light of what you were saying, Catherine, it's like, oh, it's that. I mean, I definitely thought it's the revenge. If it were me, would I be mad as the person who Karen's doing that to? Yeah. But I also wouldn't move in relation to Karen the way Gizelle does, so I wouldn't have to fear this revenge. I think she went home from that thing and said, you know what? Why am I constantly trying to accommodate this B word when she doesn't, this is not treating me like an equal, but like the whole mockery about the alcoholism, that became too much. And then I agree when she reflected and said, I told her to invite Kiana, and she did invite Kiana. She's trying to alienate me. She's trying to marshal the troops against me. I will show her. And because she said, my numbers are doing better than Gizelle's. She lost her girl. She only has Ashley, and I'm going to prove it to her.
And you know what was really gully about it is, like, she was like, I've arranged transportation to convey the women. It's like, that is a boss move. That's a that's a power move. Like, they're gonna come to me and I'm gonna make sure they're covered to come and get your little scrape, in scraps.
She put it in the group with Gizelle. It wasn't side convos, none of that. And this show has struggled season after season because of side convos. No, put it out for the group. Put it out. And that, again, fed my, okay, well, is it for the show? I mean, either way, I'm happy, but it's like, let's have the group interact.
Yes. And I think Gizelle was most triggered by the gesture that looks considerate, thoughtful, is accounting for the difficulties of this dilemma, and is still not, minimizing her needs, diminishing her needs, or subordinating them to Gizelle. Right? Because Gizelle would have preferred for Karen to engage her in an all-out, make your choice. Giselle would have preferred, because that would have been open war. But Karen looks gracious and mature by saying, and I'm going to try to ensure that people show up to you. It's like, you're trying to act like you're considerate, but no, you're my enemy.
I don't know. I don't think that. I think that she was definitely acting considerate towards the women, and and you'll still be able to go to both. But I feel like I would read that if I were Gizelle as like, you are trying to ensure that everyone does not come on time to my event. Like everyone skips out to some degree to, on my event.
But still on a technicality shows up.
Yes. So I would think I wouldn't think, oh, that's so, thoughtful and positive. I would think, oh, that's like so sinister if that were happening to me.
It's the pretension of fairness.
Yes.
That Gizelle is saying there's only one way to be fair, and that's to come to my event.
Okay. Yes, I agree with that.
Here's my question. This is what I thought in the moment when Karen comes to Gizelle's house and the question of the two events is broached, and Karen is like, oh yeah, I'm getting an award that night, but I think it's in the day. I'm pretty sure it's in the daytime. And then Gizelle's like, what time? And Karen has her hand on her phone, and I'm just like, why would she not look at the phone? So it makes me be like, again, I do think Karen was being shady, and I think she is fair to be shady, because I'm just like, why wouldn't one just look at the phone? You probably, I wouldn't guess it's even in your email. I bet it's in your photos. You could quickly pull up that flyer that we just saw that says 6 to 9 and confirm that it is a double book. I think Karen knew that going in and downplayed it in order to stage this grand, this grand double booking.
Karen.
No, I said coup, stage this coup.
Coup.
Because it's about a struggle for power. Okay, I will say Karen is on anxiety meds. If I'm fairly sure about that. And that's not a means to drag her. And she looks hella good on the anxiety meds, okay? Because they make her look aloof and disinterested. She's like, thank you for these cookies, bitch. What's up? She's like,
Yeah.
like,
you used to that you could always bake a cookie.
I liked them better in 2017, but I mean,
closed for so long. She was like,
And she always does that thing with her mouth, where the mouth is like, I can't even. Yeah, exactly.
I love all of it. But when it's like cool Karen, like the anxiety meds, and I think that it's like the anxiety meds are like, I don't need to check my phone. I don't care. It's going. I'm gonna go to my event. You're gonna go to your event. She's like, I'm gonna tell you the thing that's gonna keep the peace in front of us right now, and I'll figure it out when I figure it out. When I'm in the mind to think about logistics, and then when she goes home, maybe the meds wear down. She said, "Oh no, wait a minute," and this, and then I just learned. You know what I mean? Like she's in a different state of mind, I think. But I believe, like I think like just like at the brunch with Gizelle last episode, she was a calmer version, and then the version who shows up to Hatitude, she didn't take the meds or something like that. Like you know what I mean? We're getting like different anyway.
Intensities of Karen.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm watching with my partner, and he's like, I think the dosage is perfect because the Karen we're getting, like because it can be off.
But yes, it can be. Yes,
it's phenomenal. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, especially if it's like in Gizelle's space. She's keeping it cool. It's kind of like Wendy, right? Like I'm keeping it. You're not getting me worked up. I know you too well now, and you're too miserable a person. I will not let it touch me. That's what I believe.
Whatever the motivations, whatever the intentions, I was glad to see it. I was glad to see Karen's contingent of devotees. Like the only people who came to the GNA event were cornballs. Sorry.
Exactly. And that's why I was like, get out. She said, no, I don't mind debasing y'all. Leave.
Y'all got Jacqueline. Okay, cool. Great. Yeah, good stuff.
Wait, don't come at Vivian though. I was happy. Vivian. I was like, okay, Vivian.
Okay, I thought you meant the women who showed up later, like Jassi, Stacey, and Mia.
No, I think Jassi might be redeemed based on what I see in a preview, but yeah, Jacqueline came first, and that's the cornball question.
No, I thought that the women should have, if they didn't immediately make a choice, they should have done what Wendy and Kiara did, which is like, wait, this is so unrealistic, and just bowed out. I think that let's go to Gizelle's reaction. I think that coming, right at the end.
They didn't come at the end.
in the last 30 minutes, or they came in the last
hour.
The event ends at 9:30, I believe. They made it by 8.
The event ended at 9. The event ended at 9.
Okay, they came at, and it started at like 7, right? Like they came at 8, which Ashley said, make sure you make it by 8, and they did.
That's right. That's
right. Yes, that's true. If they had come at 8:30, I would have thought that was really wrong. And the women did make it. They played it up like, oh, it's gonna be later. Da 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 da.
I don't think the women need to be faulted at all. They did the best they could to strike a compromise
when communicated all the while. And
they did communicate.
All of those women are very innocent. Okay, they don't control DC traffic. They and those, especially these newer cast members, they don't have any, and they don't have a greater fidelity to one over the other. They're like, no, we should go to this one first because it's closer to our homes, and then we'll go to that one next. Because no, they cannot be faulted for a single fucking thing.
You know who can be faulted? Ashley Darby.
Ashley Darby. And Ashley is the main.
Speak to it.
Ashley, no backbone ass Darby. Ashley, no backbone bullshit ass.
Biatch ass.
Bad body, bad belly, bad ass. Oh, football shoulders ass Darby. Oh, narrow hips ass, nobody Darby. Okay.
Oh, she strikes again. She wore an off-the-shoulder thing with her broad ass shoulders, therefore further emphasizing the broad shoulders, and then further emphasizing a lack of hip. Yeah. It literally.
Every time y'all talk about the outfits, I was here for the Wendy outfit. I was proud of myself. I did know Wendy's outfit, but I have no recollection of this outfit. So we'll have to.
Nothing special. It just further it just is that consistent attempt to make herself look broad-shouldered and like she has zero hips.
Exactly. Interesting. Which is to say, fashioned after the desire of a gay man who was her husband.
Literally, which was her husband. So that's what she's going for.
It
just feels anti-Black because it's like Black women have hips and you know that, and so you refuse to have some. It's not all Black women have hips, but it signifies in the world of signification on Blackness, and that's why she's against it.
Going out of her way to correct it. Yeah. It's like, actually, when I was watching her on the walk with Stacey, it seems like she's like thickened a little bit than previous seasons. And yet still she's like, no, I will not give you a like thick body with a hip and a booty. No, I'm just going to like go into my triangle shape heavy.
I love that. I can't wait till she's actually, I don't think Sheila has hips, so I don't think they're ever going to emerge, but I hope. Yeah, I wish hips on you, Ashley.
I condemn you to hips. No, it's not. I'm gonna come up you to hips.
I wish wider hips on me as well.
I also have narrow hips. Like I think Ashley and I have similar. Like I have a butt that goes out, but my hips don't.
Yes, you do have Ashley. No. You have more hips than Ashley does. She's willing her. She's sucking them in.
Yeah. That only sucking them in. She's sucking the bone straight. Yes.
Sucking the bone, the meat off the bone.
That's great.
Okay. But the thing we want to address with respect to Ashley's conduct is what she should have said, right?
What she should have said. First of all, say what she did say that was so lacking in integrity.
So Mia and them call Ashley around 6:37 to let her know of their planned moves. And Ashley's like, and they're like, Ashley's like, when do you think y'all will get here? And they're like, 8 or 8:30. And Ashley was just like, if you like, I think if the closer you can get to 8, that's good. Because if you come after that, I just don't know. Like if you can get
here, it's not gonna be good.
Because if you can get here at 8, that's the thing to do. And they said, bet Ashley, we got you. We'll do it. Mm-hmm. That's what she says as the co-host of the event. This is not Gizelle's event. This is a GNA event.
Isn't it? Okay, yes. And then in conversation with Gizelle, because my intervention about what Ashley should have said.
Yeah, tell us now. Sorry for derailing. Okay. What should she have said?
So as usual, we're gonna qualify. Like there is no kind of broad, sweeping moral position to stand in. No. What she should have said, if she has integrity, a backbone, wanted to stand up for herself, wanted to counter Gizelle's moment of unreasonable rage. It's not that Gizelle's anger is not understandable. Like, it's not motivated by a place of hurt. It's that her desire to enact her revenge against people as the expression of her rage is not acceptable. It is not acceptable. It is not nice. They don't deserve it. She shouldn't have done it. Okay, that's where the shoulds will come in. And Ashley knows that. But of course, she's chicken shit. Of course, she's too much up under Gizelle. Of course, she is without integrity, without a spine. So she will not confront her. She won't stand up for the 8. And as I'm an 8, I know people don't like to stand up to the 8. But at the end of the day, that is the only way to fucking do it. And it's not as scary as you think, okay? If you stand up to the 8 will respect you. That's what you need to do. They need to be knocked down, okay? Don't let them have just like, it's not unadulterated power. That's how Gizelle got to be this miserable and nasty, because not enough people checked her. And the one girl that did is gone.
That's right.
And also, I would want to. Wait, who'd you say?
We miss you, Candy.
Oh, Candace. I was like, I was like Robin. I was like,
girl, you know better.
I know that. I was like, it's not Robin. Who else? Yeah, I do think too, to that point about 8ness, like 8s are looking for someone to match their investment, someone to be a partner in what they're doing with them if they're doing something. So it's like, if when they met before and talked about this, Ashley was like, hey, I actually do think they should come regardless. Gizelle, I think, would have been open to that point.
Well, she said to some extent, well, let's see if they can, but then conceded to Gizelle's terms, right? So what she should have said was, at the point that the women are not yet there and she knows that they are here, or like when Gizelle says, no, I'm going to kick them out. What she should have said was, or when Gizelle gestures to go kick them out, I said, Gizelle, I know the situation fucking sucks. It sucks. And this is so important to us. It's in honor of your dad. This is for his legacy. He deserves to be honored and memorialized in this way. Like, what more meaningful gesture than to partner with, the Brain Tumor Society, and do something to prevent this from happening. This is totally consistent with Curtis's legacy, with his activism, with his contributions to the world, with the impact he had on all of us. And I actually think they understand that. And I think they came here because they want to express compassion. They want to express mutual understanding, solidarity with you. They were torn because there were 2 events scheduled. They are new to this group. They haven't chosen sides. They're trying to do the thing that is right by both of us. We might think, okay, Karen does not need to be honored for her multiple citations. But that's not their position. And they are trying their best to accommodate and compromise, and to turn them away now. It's not fair. Like, let's be mad at Karen. Let's not punish them for trying to make a gesture in support of us.
Yes, let's direct our anger in the correct place. And I think for me, it was hard to remember the newness of the group because Mia was involved. But then it's like, okay, let me also not forget what Gizelle just said to Mia, which is, you ain't shit. Like, you didn't protect your fucking kids. Like, call CPS. So,
And it's not like it's not like she wasn't confronted with that, because Wendy told her that's how you came across.
That's right.
Multiple times she told her that.
Yeah. So I think, this is a situation where I was telling Kristen this beforehand. I did relate to Gizelle. I related to her anger. I related to her saying, don't come. I related to her saying, don't come immediately in response to Karen's text to the group. But I will also say, you reap what you sow. And I think this is all of those chickens from 8 seasons coming home to roost. So.
From chicken shit bingo coming to roost, because Ashley Ashley was indeed chicken shit. And what Ellen just said is what she should have said. But what Ashley indeed said was, well, I mean, this is a problem between Gizelle and Karen, and could not own that. No, girl, you were the one who told me on FaceTime to make it by 8. And look at it. It's 8:03 right now. So what do you have to tell me? And I'm sorry to anticipate, but I doubt we'll get into it deeply next time. On the preview, Ashley follows them out once they have left, helmed by Stacey, who is like very furious at being kicked out when they made an agreement to come on time or come at 8. They get into the Sprinter. Ashley follows them out because in the preview, you hear their little brain cancer society man like, get them girls back. We need to make our $15,000 donation contribution limit. Ashley runs after them with QR code. It's like, by the way, if you want to just scan the QR code, you can take, and it's foisting it into the van. Jassi presses clothes on the van doors with Ashley's body, and they're like, bitch, get out of here. Like, no, you.
And that's exactly consistent with Ashley's character. That's very consistent with that.
This is so upsetting to me. This whole scene is so, what a mockery of courtesy.
And this time or next time, even though you can relate, and on some level I can relate, but actually I don't think my anger ever, like, I can't relate that much. I'm an 8 nonetheless, so it's like I can see it, but I totally disidentify with that. Like, I totally disidentify with the gesture where you send the text message to the group after Karen's thing and go, no, everybody, it's like Karen just said something, and now everybody, I don't think I'm the kind of 8 who makes innocence pay when I'm mad at this person if they haven't done anything yet to choose a side.
In my mind, in responding to that text, I would just be like, no, I don't. We've talked about this before. Indifference. I don't give a fuck. Don't come. Don't come. The event will be great without you. I do not need you. I do not want you. This is about my thing. Don't come.
But that's a lashing out.
Yes. But I don't think that it's
not a healthy lashing out, right?
Yes. But I'm saying I don't think she's perceiving that as I'm lashing out at the people. She's like, okay, if you don't want to come, don't come.
Meanwhile, it's a clear rejection of everyone. Which the 8 is, she feels rejected. So
she feels rejected.
Everyone.
She feels rejected. So it's like, who cares? You don't need to come. I've already been.
Be careful because you're saying it like a defense of it. That's the
No, well, I'm saying it as like this is. I'm trying to take up the perspective so that people,
I'll grant you that feeling in response to the text message and in the discursive realm. But by the time 3 people show up to your event with 1 hour left, it is crazy to kick people out with 1 hour left of your event. That's crazy.
And it's egoic, and it's fundamentally egoic. It's not about it's not about your dad. It is egoic. It is about you and shoring up your sense of power and trying to mask the vulnerability, the woundedness that resulted from you feeling like people abandoned you.
No, that's very true. But I do, as a viewer, the thing that why I did want to take up her perspective on it, besides relating to it, is that
just because you expect people won't see it.
No, I actually did not expect that until Kristen didn't necessarily see it. It was actually that every fucking episode I see this bitch act, and I was like, oh, she's upset. I actually,
you're like genuine.
Real moment.
Yes, I appreciate that Gizelle was actually upset. And I want to talk about that feeling as opposed to when they keep flashing back to when Gizelle didn't want to talk to, I'm not talking to you, to Wendy in 2022. She wasn't upset then. All of these moments where she's alienating people, I feel like a lot of the time she's not feeling it like I think she was actually acting.
Don't forget that season she's coming back to film having been embarrassed by Jamal the preceding season. She was upset and she was living with it like the basic din of her life, okay? Like a quiet storm coloring her entire environment. And she said, don't talk to me. She said, don't touch me.
And it's not just that Jamal played her in the season prior. Jamal came out with his recording of his counter notebook. You remember that was in the interim between the seasons? Jamal had his own notebook confessional to respond to Mo.
Jamal had confessions?
Y'all don't remember that? Oh, Okay, but we might have to add that to the Candace and Monique saga.
Yes. No, I did not know Jamal had confession.
Jamal made his own trapper keeper to meet Monique's energy and went receipt by receipt. Like, y'all want to talk about text messages? Here's a text message. I am a single man and I'm dating. So this person is a person I am. Like, he just went bar for Monique's accusations from that season, from that reunion. And that
was a way to defend himself, probably to Gizelle, who was like, why are you? It's like, no, we never locked it down, technically.
He says that. He's like, we're not together. I'm single. He's like,
okay, then this is very sad. I retract what I said about 2022. I retract that.
That was another instance of her rejecting because she felt rejected.
Yes. All right. So then we have seen moments like this before, but we also have seen a lot of acting from Gizelle, a lot of acting. And I just wanted to mark that
that's what she does when she's acting.
Yes, that this was not coming. This was not she, like we said, she's the police, she's the overseer. This was not a strategic rejection of anyone.
Right. Okay. Not strategy, not premeditated. It was live and real.
It was live. I thought her eyes were really watering. I thought she was actually hurt.
Yeah.
She literally called herself the overseer in season 5, by the way, but
well, we'll clip that to a future TikTok. I'm very excited. Stay tuned for our Candace and Monique series. And with that, I say good night. Like, comment, subscribe. Any questions? Do you have questions?
I don't know what to do. I guess I gotta keep part 2 of my confession.